It's heavily based on the DNA of the Eureka Specialita, but with one major difference which can't be seen because it sits inside. What happened? Last time was fine. Hi, I'm Peter from Coffee Parts, and we're looking at the Eureka Magnifico, which looks very familiar because it is. It's heavily based on the DNA of the Eureka Specialita, which is super well known, but with one major difference which can't be seen because it sits inside. The blades. The blades are 55mm patented blades from Eureka called the diamond inside, and they're made from hardened steel. These blades not only last longer but perform better. One other small cosmetic difference is the adjustment dial here, which now is out of aluminium rather than plastic. But that's the main difference between the Specialita, which is super well known, and we have done a video on this particular machine before, and the Magnifico. Now, in the case of the Magnifico, it's running the same hopper as the rest of the Eureka range, the same adjustment dial, and this adjustment is stepless, so you really can adjust as much or as little as you want, and it's the actual bottom blade that's moving when you do. So you can open up the grinder, change the blades without losing grind adjustment. And the menu. The menu once again is part of the familiar Eureka DNA. And this menu is super easy to use. You got your single and double, up and down in the time, and it's set. You have to press the two bottom buttons for continuous grind on demand while you hitting that micro switch. Or if you go back in, if you hit the two top buttons, you can lock the screen. So now you can't adjust the time, you can only adjust single or double. So think about if you have kids around and you don't want them playing with your timing settings. When it comes to the operation, it's hands-free. You can put in your portafilter, it holds it while it grinds, and it's an easy adjustable portafilter fork. Now this grinder goes from espresso to filter, and you can just go from fine to coarse, although it's not really made to go espresso, filter. It takes a bit of work to move from one to the other. To go from espresso to filter, it's about 2.5 revolutions of the dial. So it's easy to go to filter, but to bring it back, as you bring those blades back together, you have to be grinding for it to work. And when you are going from espresso to filter, you can easily remove the portafilter support so you can use a catchment cup. Now, the footprint is probably what makes these Eurekas so popular. They are tiny and they fit well next to most machines. And it sits in the middle of their range, where you've got some of the smaller blades and entry-level Eureka grinders below, and you got their big Eureka XL above. It sits at a nice price point where it really does fit into most budgets. And we have done a video on the Eureka Specialita before, which we'll leave a link down below. While you're at it, if you haven't yet, please like and subscribe to our channel. It really helps us grow. When it comes to the Eureka range, the Magnifico is sitting at the top end of the range with only the XL and single dose above it. So it sits above the Specialita, but in price point, it's only a small difference in price. So depending on what you're looking for in a grinder, the difference in blades really does make a difference. Not only is it going to last longer so you don't have to change them out so quickly, but it's also going to give you a slightly better result. For me, it is the pick of the grinders. But let's see it in action and see how it performs in the cup. So let's take the Magnifico for a test run. We're gonna grind out 20 grams of coffee. It does look really neat, the grind, very consistent grinder, but it's what to expect, as effectively it's an evolution of the Specialita, which we've already done a review on. The coffee out of the Magnifico is very similar to that of the Specialita, where it's full-bodied and textured with complexity and clarity. It is a nice coffee. It's somewhat familiar for the Eureka range, which is quite nice. So the question becomes, both machines are quite similar, with a major difference being the blades inside. So which grinder would you get, the Specialita or the Magnifico? Let me know in the comments below, Specialita, Magnifico. And like always, if this video has brought you value, hit that thumbs up. If you haven't yet, please subscribe. Thank you and see you on the next video.